So why do I like making fire? For me, it's just something that gives me so much joy and a feeling of excitement and achievement and connection. You know, it's like creating magic right there from the world around you, just using sticks and maybe a piece of string. So yeah, it fires me up. Should be enough. Actually, this is a brilliant one here. This is not mostly not indigenous grass. It's stuff that came in from Europe with the settlers. But this one, look at this. It's much finer than the grass. See that? And often these indigenous plants, which are adapted to fire-driven ecosystems here in the fynbos on the side of Table Mountain, often particularly flammable. So we can also try this to see if it works as tinder for friction fire. So unfortunately we've got competition at the stream here. A dog walker with her dogs. See, technically we're not supposed to make fire in this forest, so I've got to be very careful about it. In fact, you and me might get in trouble making this video because maybe we shouldn't have told them where it is. Anyway, so we're going to have to go and find a bit of a secret place in the forest and take some water with us just in case things get out of hand, which they won't because it's easy enough to stamp these out. So we'll pick up some water on the way. Yeah, so like I was saying, I was just looking for a spot to work, which means I need a bit of a clear space so that plants and things don't get in the way, and more or less flat. Doesn't matter if it's a slope, but just not a big rock in the middle. That's not going to help you. So this area should do. Clear excess stuff out of the way. Like that. So first of all, the pieces. These pieces are all made from an invasive Australian tree that is causing ecological havoc here in South Africa, called the black wattle. So it's a nice thing to be able to not damage your environment and instead actually contribute by removing some of this alien tree. So the pieces work like this. This is called the fireboard or the hearth, and it can look different ways. It can be thicker or thinner, it's personal taste, but it's just a split branch with holes that you drill into it using the fire drill, which you can also make in different ways. Tends to work best if it's about the width of your thumb to your little finger. Somewhere between those two fingers is about right. And I like it about a handspan long. And that drills like that, and then your handhold will sit on top like this, and then your bowstring has to go around it. So when you make your bow, it can be a nearly straight stick. It doesn't have to be bendy. This one's not really. The string doesn't have to be all that tight, but it mustn't be too loose either. The important thing is that it grips the spindle or the drill. When you put it on, you must loop around like that and actually grip, which means that if you pull it like this, it's not going to slip. If it slips like this, then it's too loose. Okay? Also, the drill should be about the length of your arm, more or less. Longer or shorter, but that's a nice length. Okay. The handhold is also a very simple piece, just a split piece of wood, cut like that. You can make it in all kinds of ways. Bones work as well, stones, shells, anything with a bit of an indentation there, especially if it's smooth inside. This hole is burnt all the way through. There's not much width left there, so I'm going to start a new hole, which you do in different ways, but I like to place where it's going to be like that, put 2 marks, and then push with my thumb to mark where the hole's going to be, and drill in a little bit with the tip of the knife, just so the hole is seated. Something like that. And your spindle, if you're starting with a fresh one, you sharpen the tip. I'm going to reuse this. Must just sit in there enough that it's not going to jump out before you start trying to drill. I'm also going to just slightly adjust the shape of this because sometimes the bark gets in the way. So I'm just going to take off the bark on the outside there for a short distance. I'm pretty lazy, so I don't take it off the whole thing if I don't need to at that moment. Just do exactly what I need to. Okay, so now we're going to drill this in a little bit to start a new hole. So, just before I start, I'm going to describe the best posture here. When you have your foot over the board, you don't want to have it like this. You want to have it where the arch of your foot is, close to the new hole as possible, so that when you're holding the handhold in your left hand, if you're right-handed, that can jam nicely against your shin in line with the drill. That way it doesn't wobble all around and you can put good pressure down through the handhold. Okay, then I'm holding the bow and the string together on the tip. I'm not holding it here. And I'm pushing down hard here so that this doesn't jump out. And I'm making sure that this stays vertical. So that should be enough to have drilled the hole in. You could see smoke coming there quickly, and now you can see that I've made this dust, which is quite fibrous. It's perhaps too coarse for ideal, but that's the dust that you actually want to create, because it's in that dust that the ember forms. Nice mushroom there. And here you see the new hole is drilled in. So now I can cut the notch. The purpose of the notch is to create a place for all of this dust to concentrate. Otherwise it just forms a circle and the heat dissipates. You want the heat to concentrate. Of course, you should always cut away from yourself. So I cut towards the ground when I'm cutting the notch. In damp conditions, you wouldn't want to do this so close to the ground. So I'm cutting this notch about, if you imagine this is like a pie, it's about 1/6 of the pie, and the tip of it should not go past the middle of the hole, but maybe close to the middle. So that's more or less okay. Might go a bit further, but also the hole might move now if I start drilling. So I'm going to leave it like that for now and see how it goes. Next I have to have something to catch the dust as it falls into the notch. I often use a piece of old cardboard, and today I'm going to use a leaf. The leaf obviously has to be able to pick something up, can't be too green. This is dry but it's not crispy, so hopefully it will work. So then I set everything up again. Okay, so now we're going to go for a coal. There's no dust in the notch at the moment, but it's a brand new notch. Let's see if it works. This is not the easiest wood, but it has worked consistently. So first of all, I'm doing slow, long strokes. Plenty of pressure from my left hand, and I've just got to fill that notch with dust. See, it's now full with dust. Now, it's best not to stop and slow down, but I am demonstrating. I'm going to go faster to make enough heat to ignite that pile of dust with a tiny ember. So I'm stopping now because I can see the smoke is coming from the dust pile itself, no longer only from the hole. That means there's an ember in there. Sometimes a bit of extra oxygen helps it to consolidate. Actually, this one might have gone out. We'll see. I'm going to give it a bit more oxygen and see if it's still alive. Yes, it's still alive. Okay, so now this is a little baby fire, needs protection from the wind, and this coal is going to last a minute or maybe 2 minutes if it's a big one like this. In a moment you'll be able to see it glowing red hot there. Can you see it there? Okay, so I've got my tinder prepared over here. I'm going to try the indigenous tinder. I'm not sure what bush this is from exactly. I think it's a restio. I think it's one of the restio species. So I make a nice dense nest out of it with just enough of a dip in the middle with a nice smooth surface. Carefully put the coal inside. And then I have to close it in a little bit without disturbing it. And give it enough oxygen. Works best if you blow from a distance, because then your breath is less moist. And if
So, Roy, what happened there?
So that tinder worked, but we made the rookie mistake that we didn't have enough storage on the what do you call it?
Video camera.
The memory card was full. So anyway, so I'm going to do it again and film the last part where it actually goes into flames with, hopefully, with this dry grass, and see if this tinder works. See how wet the tinder is. It's taking a really long time to blow it into flame, and the smoke is not coming out thick, dense white. So it went in the end. Took a little bit more effort. making sure it's all out properly. But just seeing those flames means a lot to me. One of my favorite things to do.